Hello and welcome back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be joined by Gary Caldwell, the ex-Hibs player and played for so many other teams. It's great to have you on, Gary.
Great to be here, Darren. Great to see you.
Cheers. So, what was your childhood like?
My childhood was amazing. I say to my kids all the time, it's the best time of your life, and they moan at me and tell me it's not. But I had a fantastic childhood in Stirling with my big brother Stephen, who went on to play football as well. We were always playing football and out the back and going to the park. And then my little sister Jennifer, she came along when we were a bit older. I was 7 when she was born, but we had a fantastic childhood. My mum and dad did everything for us. My dad was a football player, a junior football player. He played for Bo'ness. He played for East Stirling, some other junior teams. And we used to go and watch him on a Saturday afternoon when I was younger. But an amazing childhood. And like I say to my kids, it's, I believe, the best time of your life.
Well, sometimes. um, Best advice you've been given?
Best advice, I would say my dad was, I wouldn't say, he was probably, for the modern day, very hard on myself, my brother, my sister. Not so much my sister, probably me and Stephen, he was hard on, but he always used to say, if you want something, you can achieve it. You have to work hard for it. And I believe that is so true. I think that anything is possible in life. As long as you believe you can do something, you have to work hard for it, and you have to really sacrifice and show that work ethic and energy and desire to achieve something, then you can achieve it. And my dad really instilled that in me and my brother, and he made us believe that anything, as long as we put our heart to it. And I think that's a great piece of advice for anyone.
You speak my language. What team do you support?
What team do I support? That's a good question. Now, that's a really good question. Now, I think when I was younger, my mum's side of the family supported Celtic, and we would go to Celtic games. So we were Celtic supporters, but I wouldn't say we were, you know, as you are for Hibs, probably, 100% passionate. We wanted Celtic to win. We'd go to games, but my dad didn't support anyone, and he would take us to any football game. I remember going to Falkirk games because it was local to us. We'd obviously go and watch my dad at junior football. So I wouldn't say I was a massive supporter even as a kid, but Celtic was my team. But nowadays, my kids, when they ask me who do I support, then I've got a long list. I've got Wigan Athletic from my playing days. I've got Hibernian, obviously, Celtic. I was on loan at Derby County, at Coventry, Newcastle. I was there as a kid. And then I've obviously managed Wigan, Chesterfield and Partick Thistle. So all these clubs, because I've been involved in these clubs and know a lot of the people that are still at these clubs, then I have an affinity with those clubs. So to answer your question, I don't actually support anyone. I love football. I'm very passionate about football. And all these clubs that I've been connected to, then I want them all to do well.
That's a fair answer. And what was it like playing for the teams that you've played for?
I think when I was a young boy, with Stephen, playing football was from a really young age. We were, we loved football. We were hooked on it. We'd play all the time. We would come home from school, get in the house, have a quick bite, eat something, and we'd be straight over the park with a ball and nets and meet our friends. And we'd done that all the time. And actually, I think nowadays it doesn't happen as much. There's too much Fortnite and Call of Duty, and my kids are on all these stupid games, as I call them. But we were very passionate about football, and that was our life. And to have the opportunity to then do that as a profession and have a career in the game was an amazing thing, and beyond our wildest dreams at that stage as a young boy. So it was an absolute privilege to play for every team I played for and represent that team. And I think, or I hope, I was someone that tried to always represent the club in the right way. I gave everything for every club I played for. I don't think I was the greatest of players, but I think I gave 100%, and I was great at giving everything I could for any team I played for. So none of them stand out above any other. It was a privilege to play for all of them.
Who was your best friend in the Hibs team back in the 2004-2006 season?
Oh, my best friend. I had that team was so many great young players, and I think the big disappointment for Hibs and Hibs supporters was that team couldn't stay together, because I really think it would have pushed and challenged to probably win trophies, definitely win cups, but possibly even win the league, because I think we had enough talent in the squad. We just needed time to grow and gain that experience. But in terms of mates, when I first came, Tam McManus and Ian Murray, I had known from schoolboy days and playing with the Scotland junior teams. So I knew them. But then as we went on, obviously Bruni came into the team, and I played with Bruni at Celtic as well. Derek Reardon, Gary O'Connor. And I was also close with the older guys. Stephen Glass I knew from Newcastle days. Gary Smith was a fantastic mentor and somebody that helped me in my career. Simon Brown came as a goalkeeper, an older player. But so many great players. I think the Irish lads, Ivan Sproul, Sammy Morrow, Boozy, Guillaume Bouzelan. We used to have some fantastic nights in Rose Street. I can't remember the pub we used to go to, but there was a Hibs pub on Rose Street. If you remember it, you might know it. It's a long time ago, but we used to go there and have nights after the game and lock-ins in this pub, and fantastic memories and great people who still, when I bump into the people, it's like yesterday, and you can reminisce and have a laugh. So great people and great memories.
Was Scott Brown the same player when you played with him at Celtic to what it was at Hibs?
No, I think the great thing about Bruni is he's evolved his playing style throughout his career to keep him, at the highest level. And when he first came in, he had the stupid red stripe on his hair. He was a dynamic. He was like a wide player who would come inside and play number 10, and was a real attacking player. When he first came to Celtic, I would have described him as a box-to-box midfield player. Really dynamic, could score goals, but could get back and tackle, and was a fantastic player at that point. And then as his career went on, and he's lost a bit of that energy that he had as a young player, he's evolved his game really well to become that sitting midfielder. So I think that shows the quality you have as a footballer if you can do that.
First football in memory.
First football in memory. That's a tough one. It's so long ago. I can't really remember the first memory I had. That's the kids coming in the door, if you can hear them in the background. The first football in memory. I remember the first game I can still remember vaguely that I went to was Aberdeen Celtic Cup final at Hampden, and I went with my dad, and it was the one that went to penalty kicks. I can't remember what year, but Celtic won on penalty kicks. It was something like 11-10 or 10-9 the score, but I can remember that going to that game with my dad to Hampden. But yeah, my memory. I'm losing my memory as I get older.
That's something to do with age.
I think it is, yeah. I think I'm heading too many footballs.
Best game you've played in?
Wow, that's some question. The best game I've played in? There's so many. I think I need to split this up. There's so many. I think the best game for Scotland is easy. The France game at Hampden, when I scored again. To play for your country is an amazing thing, but to score a goal at Hampden and it be the winning goal against a team as good as France was a special day and a great memory. My best game in terms of for Hibs would probably be the Hearts game we won. I think we won 2-0 at Tynecastle when we were pushing for third. I think it was under Tony Mowbray, and we were excellent. And really, again, it was that young team, really dynamic team, a brilliant team to play in, because so many players just playing with no fear and want to prove themselves and make a career for themselves. They were a great team to play in. And then in terms of down in England, the best game I played for Wigan was we played West Ham. We games to go one season in the Premier League, and we had to win both games to stay up, and we were 2-0 down at half time. And second half we came back and won 3-2, and the game was West Ham actually got relegated that day because they lost the game. So it was the second half just became like a game of basketball because both teams had to win. And it was a brilliant game of football, and we scored a last minute. Charles Zogbia scored a goal in the last minute, and there was supporters on the pitch. The bench was on the pitch. I remember the goalie, the sub goalie, the third choice goalie who was in his suit, ended up, he was on like the centre circle celebrating. It was a great day. So yeah, every game was good, but the games stick out.
Best player you've played with?
Oh, you've got some difficult questions today, Darren. That's a hard one. Played with so many. If I had to pick one, he is a good mate of mine, but I think he was a brilliant player with Sean Maloney, and I played with him with Scotland under-21s, the Scotland national team, with Celtic, with Wigan. So I played a lot of games with him throughout my career, and there was a period at Wigan where, in my opinion, he was one of the best players in the Premier League, even though he wouldn't have got that accolade because of the club he was playing at. But he scored some free kicks, one against QPR and Arsenal in particular. It was the year we won the FA Cup as well, where he was instrumental. He scored in the semi-final. He was fantastic in the final. I really think at that period he was one of the best players in the Premier League. So he would be one of the best players I played with. But I played with so many.
Best stadium you've played in?
Best stadium? I think it would have to be Celtic Park on a Champions League night or an Old Firm. Celtic Park, the noise, it used to send the hairs in the back of your neck on end. It was incredible, the energy the stadium could create. The feeling it gave to the players. We used to win games against opposition that I don't think without those supporters in that stadium we would have won games. So I think that was a fantastic stadium. But every stadium, I think, Easter Road. I remember the old Easter Road when it had the new stand wasn't there, and it had the old stand on the far side was electric. That stand could really create a great energy, and on the big derby days there was brilliant. As was Tynecastle. I used to love going to Tynecastle with the supporters behind the goal. So every stadium when it's full, I think that's the big thing about football at the minute. Having stadiums with no supporters shows you that football isn't very much when it doesn't have supporters in them.
Best player you've played against?
Best player I've played against, it would probably be Messi. in terms of just unbelievable football player. He played him in the Champions League. He scored 2 goals at Parkhead, and he got taken off after 10 minutes of the away game, which saved us a little bit because he was an outstanding footballer. But I played against a guy once as well when I was on loan at Darlington as a young boy. I played against a guy called Steve Torpey, who was playing for Scunthorpe, and he was the only time on a football pitch where I didn't know what to do. He was 6'2". He knew I was about 18. He knew I was just a young boy with no experience, and he battered me for 90 minutes. And that was a real lesson that I learned as a young player, and it stuck with me to this day. So Steve Torpey, people will probably be thinking, who is he? He just had a career in the lower leagues in England, but he was a guy that gave me a lesson one day many years ago.
Toughest player you've played with?
Toughest player I've played with? Let me think. That's tough as well. I'll say Ian Murray was a tough player. Somebody, like I said, he was a mate of mine. But when I was at Hibs, he was great because he loved the club. He let everyone know about what it meant to play for Hibs. And he played with all sorts of little niggles and bumps and bruises and kicks. And he was somebody that never missed a day's training and was very tough, very brave, and a fantastic player for Hibs and a great servant for the football club as well.
Toughest player you've played against?
His name now, it would be
You froze. Got it. It's all right. I'll manage to pause it.
Did you? Brilliant. Where did you pause it?
When toughest player you've played against?
I said Didier Drogba was so big, so strong. He was like stone. When you hit him, you just bounced off him. And no matter what you could do to try and intimidate him, he stood up to it. So he was a really physical player, a really hard player. That he did actually dive a lot, and he'd go down very easily, which I think people that see him on the telly think he's soft, but when you played against him, he was anything but soft.
Best manager you've played under?
Oh, another great question, Darren. Played under some great managers. Tony Mowbray was brilliant when he first came to Hibs. His first managerial job really gave us great belief and confidence and a style of play that was superb to watch for the supporters, I'm sure, and was an absolute joy to play in. And I've been fortunate. I've actually managed against Tony for when he was at Coventry and I was at Wigan. We played against each other, and he beat me one, and I beat him one. So we're level on that front. But a fantastic man, somebody I still speak to now and again, and was a great manager when he first came to Hibs. Well, sort of in terms of international football, and I wish I'd worked with him more. He was only there a shortish period. Was Walter Smith was amazing when he came into the Scotland job. Really defensively organised. Gave players great belief again, great confidence, and managed you so well. He was a brilliant manager. But the two managers that really affected my career as a player and probably as a coach would be Gordon Strachan at Celtic. Was took my game on to another level. I went there, I was 24, 25, I think I was 24. And he really changed my game. He made me fitter. He pushed me to limits that I didn't think I had. And was a brilliant manager. Had success at that period in terms of winning leagues and getting through the Champions League group stages a couple of times. And somebody I speak to regularly for advice and coaching and management, and somebody I have so much respect for. And then in terms of my coaching career and how I want to coach and manage and set teams up, Roberto Martinez was the Wigan manager when I arrived. I was 28. And he showed me a totally different way of playing football, of coaching football. He made me understand tactics in a different way, and really opened my eyes to so many different things, and has guided probably a little bit of my coaching career and how I want to be as a coach and a manager. So those managers, as did every manager I played with, had a big impact on my career and me as a person.
Who were your football and idols?
My football and idols, when I was young, Kenny Dalglish was my big kind of Scottish football and idol when I was young. Watched videos of Kenny Dalglish, and the most capped Scottish player of all time. Somebody that I really looked up to. But in terms of when I was young, watching football, I was a massive fan of Ryan Giggs and Roy Keane. I loved the Man United teams that of the 90s that won or started that legacy of winning Premier Leagues under Sir Alex Ferguson. And Ryan Giggs was the kind of pin-up boy of that team, but the real energy and the real engine of that team was Roy Keane, and I was a massive fan of both of their players.
Worst dresser you've seen?
The worst dresser? I'll give that to Derek Reardon. He had a suit once that he came to Celtic. Me and Kenny Miller, we couldn't stop laughing before the games. He had a suit once, and it was about 3 sizes too big for him. And he was like, if you've ever seen the film Big, Tom Hanks, when he comes home at the end of the film and he turns back into the wee boy and the suit's far too big for him. Deke turned up at Celtic Park one day with a suit like that, so I'll give it to Deke. He'll not be happy for me saying that. The best dresser. By the way, everyone else would have voted me probably as the worst dresser. The best dresser. Let me think. That's a hard one. I can't think of anyone. I'd probably say Ben Watson. I played with Wigan. Was always looked smart and always had, nice jerseys on and made himself look very smart. So I'll say Ben Watson.
Best derby you've played in?
I think every derby at the time is special. That they're great games because of what it means to the supporters and the players alike. You understand that, no matter where you are in the league, no matter what's going on with the season, when you play a derby game, if you can win that, then it's a massive thing for the supporters and the football club. So I wouldn't like to single out any, because at the time you're playing in them, that they are the most important derby. So everyone was special. Even like Wigan Bolton down here is like quite a big derby to the supporters down here. And whilst everyone else in the world doesn't appreciate it, when you're involved in it, you understand how important it is to those supporters. So every derby I've played in is massive.
Best club anthem you've heard?
Got to be Sunshine on Leith. It was actually my first dance song in my marriage, which I'm actually divorced now, so it didn't go too well. But but a brilliant song nonetheless. And actually, I remember watching the cup final when they finally ended the over 100 years of hurt and wait, and had a tear in my eye when that song came on with the supporters on the pitch, and it was just an incredible moment. But a brilliant song, and one that I still listen to regularly to this day.
What is it like to manage a football team?
Very difficult. It's actually from a young age, I wanted to be. I was quite often the captain of a team I played in, or a vice captain, and always wanted to show leadership and had leadership qualities, and wanted to be a coach or a manager from quite a young age. So I got all my badges, and I knew I wanted to get into that. I was fortunate. I got in very young. I had injuries in my career and had to retire quite young, but ended up managing Wigan at 32 years old, which probably too young, but did it well. Won a league with Wigan as a manager, which was an unbelievable experience. I think when you win something as a player, it's great, but when you win it as a manager, you appreciate it a bit more because of the responsibility of the whole football club you feel. But it's a challenging role. There's so many different dynamics involved within football management that sometimes are out with your control, and certain things that you can control are always difficult. They're ever changing. There's constant change in what you're doing, and every day throws up something different. So it's a really challenging job, but one which I love. I've always wanted to do it, and I'm eager to have another opportunity to do it again.
Best night out you've had, or you've been on?
Too many to mention, Darren, on here. We need another 10 hours for the show. The nights out.
Just mention
Just mention one. Like I said, we used to at Hibs. We had so many young boys and great lads who. We were a dangerous group, actually. A lot of us liked a night out, so it actually worked in pretty well. Myself, Ian Murray, Tam McManus, and then, like I said, the younger guys, Deke and Gaz O'Connor, when they came in, and Bruni and Tomo, and then Sammy Morrow and Boozy when they came. Boozy his nickname was very apt because he did like a drink as well. But we used to all go out. We used to finish the game on a Saturday, and we would all say where we were meeting up, and we would meet up in Edinburgh, and we'd go for a night out together. And it really was, I'm a big believer in teams, going out together and socialising together, and it does build team spirit, and it does affect how you play on the pitch. And we were a team that, played on the pitch well together, but we also socialised a lot. But the best nights out, I can't remember, so I don't know which one it is, but I can say there was lots.
What was Scott Brown like on a night out?
Just like he is on the pitch, mental. I think when he was younger, I think we were all, crazy, and we all loved a night out. When we got that opportunity, I think in football sometimes, especially in the modern day, there's too much, video phones and cameras, but young people need to enjoy themselves, and they need to go out and let off a bit of steam now and again. And we were all no different. Brownie was no different to all of us. We all like to go out and have a good time, and come back to work on the Monday ready to train and work hard again.
Funniest player you've played with?
The funniest? That's tough. That is a tough one. I'll probably say Mike Pollitt, who was the goalie coach I actually spoke about that was on the pitch in the West Ham game. He was the third choice keeper at Wigan when I got there. He played a few games, but he was just a brilliant person around the place. He was, when I became manager, he was the goalie coach at the club, so he was my goalie coach, and was a great person to have to lighten the mood when you needed it, and to bring up morale and lift morale when you needed it as well. So I'd say he was the funniest player I've played with.
Best joker you've played with?
The best joker. I think I liked a little bit of prank, so I'll say myself. But that Hibs team had loads. There was always little pranks going on in the changing room, and at Wigan later in my career, I had Scott Carson, who's at Man City now, who would always hang my clothes up and pull pranks on me. So I think a football dressing room is fully pranksters and jokers.
I would just pick Bruni.
Bruni, aye. He wouldn't dare joke with me. He used to joke with all the other guys. No, they, like I said, everyone would pull a joke on you and at some point, and that was, I think that's what makes dressing rooms, and that's what you miss most when you finish playing. It's not often the games or the training. It's just the camaraderie and the spirit amongst each other and the feeling that you generated in the changing room that you miss. So we all were jokers at different times.
Who's the hardest player you've played with?
Hardest. I said Nid, didn't I? I said Nid was a really strong player, a brave player, and somebody that always trained no matter what he had. He was always had aches and pains, but he was somebody that would get himself out there and train. So Ian Murray.
So like after this, can we carry on talking for a wee bit?
Aye, no problem.
Right, so it's much appreciated for you to take your time out. Gary, how many likes should we get on the video?
Cheers, Darren.
No,
Absolutely
how many likes?
How many likes? I don't know. Where does it tell you that?
Well, see on YouTube.
Yeah.
It has the like button.
All right.
So how many?
See, how many are we going to get for this video?
Aye.
How many do you want?
Well, you pick.
I guess. Oh, if it's Hibs fans, surely it's about 500.
We'll go with that. Cheers.